Peace and light, you guys. So just a warning, this video is about to be a video of full 100% unfiltered, complete, honest, soul-bearing transparency. And it's literally me being open and honest about my experience traveling the world looking for home. When I first began to travel, first off, let me just say I've been to 4 different countries in the past 5 months. And when I first began to travel, my intention was to find a place that I could build a home, right? And when I say a home, my simple thing was like, and not so simple, but simply stated, I wanted to find a place where I would want to raise my children. Being black in America, there is a lot going on. And what I realized through traveling is that not many people around the world are aware of the black struggle in America as far as police brutality, mass incarceration, various other forms of discrimination and slavery and all of the obstacles that we still go through as black Americans. I found that a lot of people think that, it's easy for us in America. So this opportunity has given me the opportunity to educate people about what's going on with black people and the status and state of black people in America. And on this journey, my goal was to find a place that I would want to raise my children, because I did not want my children to grow up in America, in the America that we know. I didn't want my children to be susceptible to mass incarceration. I didn't want my children to fear walking down the street. I didn't want to have to fear my children, or especially my black son, not coming home. And right now, presently, I have no children, but I'm thinking about my future and my future generations, and I don't want to be a mother at home in fear of my son being a young boy. My son can't be in the front yard and play with a water gun because he may be killed, because it may be a real gun, even though he's 12, Tamir Rice. That's the thing. So I was like looking for a place where I could find solace in raising children. I could be comfortable in raising my kids, looking for a place where, it's a holistically healthy community. I can have my garden and grow my herbs, and, people actually believe in natural birthing and doula work. I'm a doula, so that's something that's passionate for me. People are doing what they can do to live their best life, and the environment is conducive to that. I didn't feel that where I was in America, the environment was conducive to black people like myself and like my future children living their best lives and being okay and feeling safe. I was looking for safety, a place where I can feel secure and comfortable and sure. So I went on a journey. I quit my job and I left. I left New York City. I was living in Brooklyn, Brownsville, Brooklyn. I left New York City, and the first place I stopped was in Bali, and that was in September of 2018. We are now in February 2019. So my first stop was Bali. Bali was beautiful. It was a beautiful experience. Then after Bali, it was China. After China, I did South Africa, and after South Africa, I did Ethiopia, and I'm on my way to the next destination tomorrow, actually. So yeah, and so 4 countries so far in 5 months. As of tomorrow, it'll be 5 countries in 5 months. And what did I learn? You guys, the biggest thing I learned is that no place is ideal. No place is ideal. When I came in, I was hoping to find that safety. I was hoping to find that feeling of conducive possibilities, that the environment would be conducive of the possibility of living your best holistic life and being okay and feeling secure, and knowing for sure that my children and myself, my family, my future husband would be well in this environment. And what I found is no place is ideal. When I went to Bali, It was beautiful. The soil is rich. You can literally grow anything there. So I'm like, oh yes, I'll be able to have my farm, my garden, my farm. I really want a farm, and not a farm where like because I don't eat meat. I'm not gonna be slaughtering animals. A farm that I can grow herbs and have orange trees and mango trees and things like that. Like just really like a big like Garden of Eden without the serpent and the snake and all that other. But really like a big Garden of Eden. That's my heart's desire. So Bali is very conducive to that. I didn't experience racism there. There weren't many black people at all. I saw like maybe 2 or 3. And I stayed there for a month and a half. And I was out almost every day and didn't really see that many black people, but I never felt like the black girl. I never felt like people were like staring at me. I didn't get, any negative interactions at all in Bali. Everyone was very peaceful, spiritual, and it felt good. My soul, my spirit was truly fed there. But Bali was not my ideal, because in my ideal, we don't experience frequent earthquakes and tsunamis. When I was there, a tsunami occurred not too far and wiped out an entire community. You can research the tsunami in Indonesia back in, I think it occurred in October. At that point, it happened in October of 2018. But a tsunami happened. I woke up in the middle of the night to an earthquake, like where I was. Like my bed was shaking vigorously, and it was an earthquake, and we had to run out to the middle of the rice paddies, you know what I'm saying? And like things like that, that wasn't a part of the ideal, so I was like, okay, this is not it. So I love Bali. It's definitely a place that I'm going to come back to often, but this is not it. I can't do it. My children experiencing earthquakes. We maybe have a tsunami. I can't even swim. What am I going to do with a tsunami? Like, what? So that definitely was like out of the picture, right? But like I said, I love Bali. Shout out to Omham Resort and the ashram and guru and all that. I love the people that I met. I met a guru there, and he like treated me so well. I got really sick in Bali, and I drank a kundalini juice, and I was healed like very quickly. Shout out to the guru. Shout out to Ilu. I love you, Ilu. If you ever go to Omham Resort, please find Ilu. Tell her that Mariah said she loves her. Yes. But Bali was amazing. But the earthquakes and the tsunamis were not a part of my ideal. So China. I go to China, Shanghai, China, and from the very beginning, I was like, okay, this is not it. Shanghai, China reminded me a lot of New York. The only difference is I did not have people in New York touching my skin to see if my melanin comes off. In China, I definitely was the black girl. In China, I definitely was like the exhibit in the museum. It was a lot of like people would rub my skin, and not for the tattoos, but they would rub my skin and look at their hand to see if the color came off. And after doing some further research about like why, I found out that very recently there was a commercial in China where they put a black person in the washing machine and they came out white. So I think people wanted to see like if it comes off. But yeah, I was definitely the black girl there, and I did not like that feeling. I did not like that experience. I didn't. And it wasn't anything against them, because I knew that it was just out of curiosity. It wasn't like, oh, we hate black people. It was like they were curious to see if my glasses. It wasn't that they hate black people. It said they were curious to see if, this is like, what is this thing? And I'm very much like, with all due respect, okay, don't just come up to me rubbing me, don't just come up like, really. I had one guy, the weirdest thing happened. I had one guy, we were sitting next to each other and we were talking. He was clearly curious, and I was okay with him being curious. I was okay with the curiosity. Like, I would answer the questions. I knew that I could not deal with it long term. I wouldn't raise my children in that environment. I don't want my children to feel like outsiders, and like, I wouldn't want my kids to be the exhibit in the museum, and have to constantly answer the questions about blackness, like, I don't want that for them. But I didn't mind it for the moment. I took it as soon as I arrived and I experienced it. I was like, okay, let's just travel, and this is it, and like, we're gonna experience this and see what it is. And I was talking to this guy. He was asking me a lot of questions and stuff, and a lot of people didn't speak English, so we were like talking through his translator on his phone, and he acted like he dropped the phone. It was clear that he did not drop the phone. It was like lay the phone down on the ground, and then he bent down to pick it up. When he bent down to pick it up, he rubbed the top of my foot like and looked at his hand, right? So he like for fakes picks up his phone and like rubs my foot and looks at his hand and it's like it sits up and looks at me like, oh. And I'm like, sir, okay, this is not it, like personal space, but yeah, so that was very weird for me. So China, needless to say, China was not gonna be the home front. After China, I went to South Africa, and y'all, I did a whole video about this. Like, I moved to Africa. Why did I move to Africa? How did I do it? What? Like, and I thought South Africa, I was like, okay, I'm going to South Africa. I hear great things. Now, people were warning me about the safety and stuff, but I was like, I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn. Like, what do you mean safety? Like, what? I'll be good. I'm good anywhere I go, Gangster, right? Like, no. Go to South Africa, and it's definitely it's one of the most developed countries in Africa. And it was a beautiful experience. But something that I didn't realize that wasn't a part of the ideal was I didn't want to still feel like I was in America. If I'm in Africa, I don't want to still feel like I'm in America. I didn't want to be around Popeyes and Krispy Kreme and all this other shit. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to, be in a society where people are chasing the American dream, even though they're not in America. And with all due respect to South Africans, because they hate when I compare them to America, but it's America. Like a lot, not all of it, but I was in Johannesburg, and where I was, definitely was like, okay, this is like America, which has its pros and its cons as far as development. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, South Africa was a great experience, but the reason that it wasn't the home front, it wasn't my ideal, was simply because the safety. I saw and experienced a lot in South Africa, from six guys turning around and like about to do whatever to me when I was on my way in the house, and like thankfully my Uber driver was there, and that's a whole story. But yeah, like that experience, having a van or a truck sitting outside of my house, and not knowing why, my friend being there like, okay, this is clearly not right, like they're sitting here, they're not moving, like, do you feel safe, do you feel comfortable, I don't want to leave you in the house alone, like what's happening, and she being very nervous, and she ended up spending the night with me that night. But it also happened again. I saw robberies, gunpoint robberies, things like that. I saw dead bodies and the police just sitting off to the side like, oh, there was no camera, so we won't be able to know. It was like a dead body on the highway, and like the police was just sitting there chilling, waiting for the coroner to come pick it up. Like, no need to investigate. There are no cameras. How will we know? How will we know who killed them? There is no camera. How will we know? And I'm like, clearly this person was shot in a car and pushed out of the car, and they're laying dead on the highway. You guys gotta do some type of, oh no, how will we know? And I'm like, oh, so people could just kill people here and just get away with it like that. Like, and there was a lot of crime scenes. There was a lot of murders, riding down the street, and like, this is not everywhere, but once again, I was in Johannesburg, South Africa, and I'm riding down the street, and I'm seeing people on the side of the road shooting up heroin, things like that. Like, I was not expecting that. I was like, oh wow. So that wasn't a part of the ideal, my children growing up and seeing people on the side of the road shooting heroin and dead bodies on the highway and the police not giving a fuck, and things like that. That wasn't a part of the ideal. So I was like, okay, this is not it. I don't want my kids to be walking down the street and you can't pull out a cell phone out of fear somebody's going to rob you for your phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't want that. That wasn't a part of the ideal. So I was like, okay, let's just enjoy this for what it is right now, and then we're moving on. Moved on to Ethiopia, right? And Ethiopia was always a country I desired to go to because, it's Ethiopia. And like, I grew up around Rastas, and like, I love Rastas. I love the peaceful philosophy, the one love philosophy. And, I was just they idolize, a lot of Rastas idolize. Now, I don't want to say idolize because that's a little like, kind of blasphemous or disrespectful, but they really behold Ethiopia as like the land of repatriation. As we know, the Emperor Haile Selassie, he was, he's very revered in the Rasta community. He's the Emperor of Ethiopia. He was the Emperor of Ethiopia, and So Ethiopia is like the spot. So I was like, I grew up like, okay, when I get money, when I get older, I'm gonna go to Ethiopia and I'm gonna see what this is like. So I had like, I just knew like it was gonna be a land where, everyone's growing their food and growing their herbs. And this is the idea that I had in my mind, right? So I'm like, maybe Ethiopia is it. Like, I can find that place where I can grow my herbs and it's peaceful and one love. I'm thinking like this is gonna be the one love country. And it is. It is. I did experience one love here. Ethiopia is a one love country. It's very peaceful. It's a country where Orthodox Christians, Muslims, and, Rastas, so many people come together and they dwell and they help each other out. And it's very peaceful and very calm. Something that's like practiced here is patience like a motherfucker. People are very like easygoing, and as a New Yorker, I'm like, nigga, speed this up. What's up with this Wi-Fi, bro? Like, we gotta do better, bro. Like this, let's speed this up. Like let's go. I'm come on. But I really learned to channel my patience, and it was often that I had to calm down, be patient. So Ethiopia provided that for me, learning and understanding to channel my patience. It is a one love country. But once again, Ethiopia wasn't the ideal. Why wasn't it the ideal? Because we experienced very long power outages. We experienced a 2-day shut-in because the air was too toxic to breathe from the fumes of the various generators running. Literally, you walk outside and it smells like gasoline and exhaust. Like, somebody's cleaning out their car and that black exhaust smoke that overwhelms you on the highway. That's what it smelled like. I remember, like, they came around in the hotel to lock all the windows and doors so that we could not open them. They was like, you can't open the windows and the doors because the smoke is toxic. The air is toxic. I remember having a headache for 3 days straight, having a funny, filmy taste in my mouth. I'm sitting here like, if I die from carbon monoxide poisoning, my family's gonna kill me. They told me not to do this shit. Like, why did I do this? Oh my God. I can't believe this. I would have never experienced this in Brownsville. Like, that's really what I was thinking, y'all. It's so interesting. Like, the experience was very humbling, and it made me realize, for every pro, I'm not gonna say for every pro, but everywhere you go, there's going to be something. And that's the lesson. That's the lesson, y'all. That is the transparency. That is the truth that I realized. Everywhere you go, there's going to be something. There is no ideal place, I don't think. There is no ideal place. Everywhere you go, there'll be something. I found pieces of the idea everywhere in Bali, the spirituality. That did it for me. In South Africa, just to be around that Sangoma energy, the natural healers, the traditional healers, to be in an African nation that was so developed and it was convenient. It was great to be able to call an Uber. You know what I'm saying? Like, things like that. That's a part of the idea. I definitely want development. I definitely want to feel, modern. I want to be in a modern world. That's a part of the idea, to come to Ethiopia, and it's very peaceful and very calm. People are patient. People are loving. People are working together. There's a sense of community. That's a part of the idea. But also, everywhere there was something that wasn't in the idea. And the conclusion that I've come to, you guys, is that home, the ideal home that I had in my mind, I have to build and create. I have to create. And no environment may be fully conducive to my idea or my ideal home. There may be a battle to fight everywhere I go. The question is, which battle is worth fighting? If I build this ideal environment in America, I have to fight the battle of oppression in America. If I build this ideal environment in Bali, I'll have to fight the battle of Mother Nature, which who's gonna win that battle? You know what I'm saying? Like, who's gonna say no earthquakes, no tsunamis? Like that? No, So I can't battle that. That's something that I would just have to deal with and be ready and prepared for and learn how to fucking swim. You know what I'm saying? Which I'm gonna do, y'all. I'm gonna do. But yeah, so it's that would have been the battle there. If I go to South Africa, the battle of safety, building the home that's a battle of safety in a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's also very concerning. I would fear for my daughters. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a whole nother battle. Coming to Ethiopia, and the battle of lack of development, that they don't have the necessary things to prevent the issues, like breathing in the toxic air, the exhaust fumes. You know what I'm saying? Like, that can be damaging long term. Like, just imagine what that could become. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not ideal. The fact that they're charging a farmer's tax some places where you grow like these herbs and things. So you may not be paying property tax like you would in America, but you're paying a farmer's tax just to be able to feed your children from the earth. Like, how do you feel about that? That's a political battle you'll have to go through. There's so many different things. Everywhere you go, there's going to be a battle, but what battle is worth fighting for? What battle do you feel like is yours, to take up, to be on the front line of? And what battles do you feel is meant for you to provide just resources? We all are part of a battle, hopefully, if you're living this life with a purpose and a cause. But what are you meant to bring? What battle is yours to fight? And what battle are you meant to just be a resource for? Meant to just be a support for? What battle are you meant to just give your thoughts and opinions and ideas as opposed to lay your life on the line for? And that's the conclusion that I'm coming to. Not so much the conclusion, but the question that I'm asking myself now. So when it comes to traveling these countries, I will say the positive side is that I did it and I went and I've learned and I've grown from it. The negative side and the thing that I would go back and change is not travel with the intention of finding home. I was traveling with the intention of finding home, not realizing that, I know people say home is where the heart is. Yeah, that's okay. But, and home, some people feel like home is within you. And really, that's true. Home is within you. And when you want to bring that without, as my aunt would say, my aunt, real side note, real quick, I was saying I didn't have the Christmas spirit, and my aunt was like, I said the Christmas spirit is within me. I was like, I may not be showing it, but it's within. She was like, no, you need to bring it without, okay? We want to see Christmas spirit, bring it without. So, if the home is within you, and if you want to bring it without, you want to like manifest it in an external environment. I was traveling with the intention of finding that place where I could manifest home in an external environment, and I'm not, regret is such, I don't regret it because I learned. But if I could do it again, I would definitely not travel with the intention of finding a place to manifest home. I would travel with the intention of just traveling and just seeing, which I did. But I think that while traveling and seeing, I was looking at everything with the lens of, could this be home? Could this be home? Could I deal with this long term? Could this be my forever thing? Could this be my forever place? As opposed to just taking it for what it was for the moment. I think when you I went to Paris for 2 weeks for my birthday last year. And I wasn't going to Paris to see, could I be here forever? I was just going to Paris just to experience Paris. And I think if I would have come with the lens of just experiencing these countries, it would have saved me a lot of disappointment. I was disappointed, y'all. I was disappointed quite often in the trips, and not because of anything. It's not the country's fault. It's not the people who were their fault. It's not anything else. It was my fault that I was disappointed. It's my fault that I was disappointed because I came to these countries looking for home without realizing that that's not what it's for. Just see, just feel, just experience. And then if you decide to make a home out of it, do it. but don't come looking to make a home out of it, you know? So yeah, that's my transparency. That's my transparency. I made a mistake, you guys. I made a mistake and learned from that. You know, for all my people who are looking for repatriation, for all of my people who desire to leave America and go build homes somewhere else, you know, lessons learned. There's going to be a battle in building that ideal home no matter where you go. Okay, there's going to be some form of a battle, something, a challenge you will have to overcome, work through, fight through, try to change, whatever it is. There's going to be a battle. That's the biggest lesson. Just go, travel, and experience it from a traveler's lens as opposed to a person looking for a home. You know? Yeah. So that's it, you guys. I don't think I have anything else to say. I'm on to the next destination. 5 countries in 5 months. It'll be as of tomorrow. I'm not going to reveal the destination yet. I'll keep you guys updated, okay? Peace and light, y'all. I appreciate the energy. I don't know why I'm whispering. Peace and light, y'all. I appreciate the energy. I appreciate you watching. Please subscribe. I think this might be my first video with my glasses on. I wear glasses. I've been wearing glasses since 5th grade, y'all. Fun fact. I didn't realize my hair was my forehead, 5 head. Okay. Peace and light, y'all. Love y'all.